And welcome to the Cardinals Nest here on HBC Channel 25. Dean Beckman along with Sports Information Director Donny Nadeau. And after a long winter, the spring sports teams are finally competing. And today we're going to be focusing on track and field. A little bit later in the program, we will give you a video introduction anyway to our new men's basketball coach at St. Mary's, Jamison Rusthoven. That'll be a little bit later on in the program. But first, track and field, we have assistant coach Ward Berndt here and also Peter Borash. He's a senior this year on the team. And Peter, we'll start with you. Not only are you a senior on the track and field team, you're a cross-country runner as well, but you're also the 2013 Outstanding Male Senior. 2 awards given out each year at Founders Day, one for the Outstanding Female Senior, and you were this year's recipient of the Male Outstanding Senior Award. So just give us your thoughts on what you were thinking when they announced your name, because it comes as a big surprise in that ceremony, and it's great that you won.
Well, obviously it was an honor to get it. It was an honor to be nominated, and it was great to have Jake alongside me for the nomination. We always try to, we always say it's a team thing because we push each other in practice, and then we go eat supper, and then we all go to the library to study together. But, even when Dr. Cochran got up to announce it, we had no idea who it was because there were 4 biology nominees. So,
and the Jake you're referring to, of course, is Jake Traxler.
Yes.
Runs on track and field, cross country as well with you. And yeah, you're right, a lot of environmental biology majors as finalists this year. And so, but yeah, and as you said too, it's tremendous just to be a finalist, much less winning the award.
Yeah, and so, obviously it was great to be up there, but then I couldn't have done it without those guys too. So, it's a group achievement. Mm-hmm. But it was a great feeling to hear my name called out. I think most people got it from the highlighter hat, but that was the first thing that finally distinguished it. But I was very excited to hear that.
Now, Peter, you're from Bolus, Minnesota. So tell us how you got started as a runner, both cross country and now track and field here.
Well, my mom and her whole family were cross-country runners for Royalton High School, and so my older brothers and sisters started into the program in Royalton, and I just kind of followed their footsteps. But it actually was interesting too, because my mom's head coach when she was in high school was still the head coach when I was in cross-country. So it was a very, very personal feel, very great advisor to my running. And so, it probably started out from chasing cows, was probably, and the long driveway out, running out to the bus in the morning because we were never on time. But yeah, it just kind of grew from that. Started with cross country and then worked its way into track. And I've enjoyed cross country and track, especially because of the people in it. And that's what kind of kept me through it in high school.
And Peter, why ultimately St. Mary's? I know you have family who go here, but what really attracted you to the school?
I was, because Royalton is a small school, I was looking for a small school with an environmental biology program where I could also run. That was one of the key things I wanted in a school. And I wanted it to be a team that I would be a part of, would be a contributing part of, not just another person on the team. And I found that very much here at St. Mary's. But I also really liked the Catholic atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. Ward, getting back to putting Peter on the spot as the outstanding male senior, it's not anything new to you or really to your track and field and cross-country programs. Last year, both the male and female were cross-country track and field runners in Michael Mokler and Regina Quant. Talk a little bit about what it is about the athletes that you guys bring in that kind of sets them apart and maybe puts them on that road to success, not only in the athletic venues but in the classroom as well.
I think a lot of it has to do with distance runners have a certain sort of self-discipline and priority schedule that they have to set and follow daily. So with this group of people, this group of runners, that's really what it's been like. They know what their priorities are. They get them taken care of. They get structure, but they have a lot of discipline to go ahead and do it. I think the other thing that's really helps out, as Peter's really kind of touched on already, is it is very much a group thing. Like it's almost an expectation for the entire group now to, okay, we get done with practice, we go eat together, now we start studying. So it's been really kind of a culture that they've taken care of for themselves.
You know, too, it seems, Donny, every year that there's always one athlete who seems to be up on that stage. I think it seems to be just kind of a culture within the athletic department that they sort of nurture that kind of success.
Yeah, and I think that that Ward touched on it a little bit there, and just that I think that they know their structure. You understand that there's priorities. You understand that it's not just athletics here, but you are a student first, and I think that it really does say a lot when you have at least one of the two the last 5 years has been an athlete. It says a lot about our student athletes and the type of people that our coaches are bringing in.
Right, right. Ward, as we look now at this year's track and field team, tell us how weather has played a role in your spring. Donny and I have spent a lot of time on the show talking about baseball, softball, and that's obvious they're not out there, but it's kind of has wreaked havoc with track and field as well.
It's definitely changed what we do this year. I've had to be the most creative I've ever been scheduling workouts for the squad this year. With our distance runners, it's a little bit easier because we are used to running outdoors in the wintertime all the time. The problem is when we start doing quality workouts, quality in the cold and the rain and the snow doesn't happen quite as well as you'd like it to happen normally in the spring. So we've had to be a little bit more creative in terms of how we're going to do that. And we've really kind of worried a little bit more about injuries on that side of it too. Unfortunately though, we're the luckiest school in the MIAC because we've actually had our track open for almost a month now, whereas a lot of tracks still haven't yet. So we've been, as much as it's been miserable for us, it's been a lot better for us than it has for a lot of schools. So I can't complain about that side of it.
Peter, talk about the adjustment from, I mean, obviously they're two different sports, but from cross country to track and field, because really for a distance runner, yeah, you're running probably pretty much the same type of distance, but it's so different, and one's going around in a circle and the other is going on a trail. How do you make that kind of an adjustment?
I think the biggest thing is in the track workouts, the speed workouts themselves. The mileage is similar from cross country to track. We break it up a little more into mid-distance groups and distance groups in track. But then it comes down to the speed workouts actually on the track. Whether we do 800s, 1Ks, 400s, it's all different speed things to get your pace ready on the track, to get used to running in the circle. Like you said, there's no hills to worry about. It's a lot more consistent from one place to the next. So we can focus on the pacing a lot more in track and not about the hills and about where you have to worry about pushing. And a big change is you go from a 5-mile race out or in cross country to, for me, in my case, it's a 1500, just under a mile. There's a big change there, and that's, like I say, that's where the speed work on the track comes in. It's the transition from the long distance runs, usually on the weekends, to speed work through the week.
Coach, based on the distance, how does that affect your coaching as far as different drills you might put them through, that sort of thing?
Well, like Peter said, we kind of break the groups down a little bit more. The long distance kind of continues what we do with cross country. The middle distance people, like Peter, we definitely we focus a little bit more on just turnover and pacing for their things, so we can kind of hit that energy system more appropriate for what they're racing in, and really kind of get them to tolerate the kind of pain that race elicits. 'Cause each race has a different kind of pain. The 1500 is a whole lot different than the 8K, which is a whole lot different than the 800. So that's really kind of what we try and target.
Is it a rarity, Coach, to have somebody who is as talented a distance runner as Peter was, and a great 4-year cross-country career at the 8K level, to have him also be successful and really a top-notch 1500 runner, because they are such different distances?
Generally, a good runner is a good runner. There are certain people obviously have their emphasis that works pretty well. So Peter's not completely rare, but the fact that he's a good runner, that's a little bit rare. But the fact that he has that versatility, good runners generally have that.
Ward, talk about some of the other runners, both on the men's team and the women's team, who you're looking to for some leadership this year and to maybe really perform well at the end of the season in the conference meet.
On the men's side, we got John Susher, who actually finished 5th on the indoor 5K at the indoor conference. So we're hoping he gets back there again, gets kind of on the podium. Aaron Haley's another one who's been right with that training group. And then Jake Traxler, too. He was 6th at outdoor conference last year at the steeplechase, got the school record then, too. So he's another one we're looking to on the men's side to really kind of have a positive impact in the next couple of weeks. On the women's side, Katie Stoll's she's been our leader for cross country, but also for track now. She already set the school record again this year for the steeplechase again. And there's a couple of freshmen I'm excited about too that are starting to figure things out a little bit too. So it's not going to be this year, but hopefully next year down the road too, that they're going to really be contributing a little more.
And it's hard to believe we talk about finally getting some nice weather, and yet in a couple weeks it's the end of the season and it's conference championships. Peter, have you thought at all about that, the conference championships, in that this is it? As a freshman, you probably say, I got 3 more of these, but this is your last one. How do you mentally, physically approach? What is your mindset heading into that last conference championship?
I mean, obviously there's a little more urgency in the fact that, yes, I may not get another shot, but at the same time, so far I've just been looking at it, it's another meet. Especially in the 1500, there's prelims and finals, Friday night prelims, Saturday finals. My goal right now is to make finals. I didn't quite make it last year, and so that's what it is. It's another meet. I take it week at a time, as much as I can.
And Ward, this weekend, April 27th, it's the St. Mary's Open, so it's the home track and field meet. How many teams are we expecting, and what should we look for there?
I think we're expecting about a dozen teams. This is looking to be the biggest field and probably the most competitive home track meet we've had since we got this meet going. So that's going to be exciting for us. The biggest thing is we got weather on our side. At least it looks like we have weather on our side. So I think there's going to be a lot of really good performance. A lot of people just excited to be out there and race hard. So.
And how about from an athlete standpoint, Peter? It is the only home meet that you guys have on the outdoor season. Does it change it at all in terms of just having some home fans there and being on your home track?
Yeah, I would say it definitely does. There's just a lot more, you have a lot more pride running on your own track. You've got all the fans there from our school, especially if it's going to be nice weather. That's just something that's lifted everybody's spirits this week already. Even though it's not here yet, we're all anticipating it. But it's the track you're used to running on. Every track has a different surface, a different hardness, a different softness. The turns are all a little different, and it's nice to know and be comfortable with the track you're on. And that's what we're all looking forward to. Again, I say we take it as a week at a time. We've got one race to run, and that's what we all like to think of it as. It's the same anywhere, but in the back of our minds, it's always great to be on the home field. So.
Now, Ward, I know you focus on the longer distance runners. Sean McMahon, the head coach, what is he excited about with the rest of the team? Some of the specific events that St. Mary's has been excelling in and he expects to see continue to improve.
Well, on the jump side, he has 2 freshmen, Brian Ortman and Sarah Fanning, who have been doing pretty good. Both qualified for indoor conference in the triple jump, so we're expecting that to continue. I think their marks are on there right now. Laura Schomer's been doing pretty good in the long sprints, too. So she's getting along there pretty good. And then we also got a couple of 400 hurdlers. Jed McGlasson, who was a hockey player, who's joined us now too. He was state champ in Alaska back in the day, so we're excited to see him kind of put some marks down too.
And then you certainly can't forget about the Booker sisters. Coco
Absolutely.
has done a great job in her senior year as a shot putter, and Maya seems to kind of be taking over the hammer. Seems to be her specialty.
Really
I know on Wednesday night they both had solid performances up at Hamlin, but it seems like you have competitors at just about every event that really can probably put it together and really make you guys do some strong things at the conference meet.
That's our goal.
One last question here. Peter, we focus on this show obviously on the athletic side of things, but you're an environmental biology major. Talk about the academics a little bit at St. Mary's, and I know after graduation here you're really hoping to do something with the DNR.
Yeah, so environmental biology, St. Mary's is a great place for that. Just being so close to the Mississippi, being in the Bluffs, which is a very unique area within the state, just gives lots of opportunities for, especially environmental biology majors, but all biology and all other majors as well. So I've really enjoyed that side of it. The professors have so much experience in their respective studies, and it's been great. The field station on the Mississippi has offered a lot of opportunities and field experience. And so along with those, it's really prepared me, and I'm really looking forward to actually putting all of the things I've learned into practice. Like you mentioned, I'm looking into jobs with the DNR, and hopefully can open up those opportunities to more students in the future if I can get in there.
even after Dr. Cochran makes fun of his hat, he still praises Dr. Cochran and the rest of the faculty at St. Mary's. So, but it's been great having you on the show. Good luck not only this weekend in the SMU Open, but also with your environmental biology career.
Thank you.
All right, and Ward, thanks to you as well for being on the program. Be sure to stay tuned here to the Cardinals Nest. We'll give you a video introduction to our new men's basketball coach. That's next here on HBC.
Hi, I'm Colleen Bushman, and I am HBC. I'm the Customer Service Director located in the Winona office. I love sewing, photography, and spending time with my new grandson, and HBC Internet allows me to see him anytime I want. HBC's customer service team is here to ensure that every experience you have with HBC is a positive one, whether you're signing up for new service, making changes to your existing account, or just stopping in to pay your bill and say hi. You will always feel welcome when you visit me.
We are HBC.
You know, we're doing things in bus magazines and the newspapers and things like that, and it's just like we seemed like we needed a different media, and we thought, you know, TV, perfect. Laura, she is awesome. She came out the first time. She was very, very personable, tends to your needs. I mean, anything that you needed, she was right there. I literally, seriously, have been wanting to make more commercials just because it was such a great, fun process. I would recommend HBC to anybody.
Call Laura for details on how to get a free commercial for your business.
A state-of-the-art fiber optic network. Sure, you've all heard that. But what does it mean? Well, if you're an HBC customer,
It's television in crystal clear high definition and whole home DVR, blazing fast internet speeds, perfect for gaming or movies, phone service with your choice of features, including unlimited long distance. And now, HBC has expanded service throughout much of southeast Minnesota. Call today and see what it's like to be on a state-of-the-art fiber optic network with a local company receiving national recognition for their service.
And we're back here on the Cardinals Nest, the sports show devoted to St. Mary's University and its athletic programs. Dean Beckman, Sports Information Director Donny Nadeau joining us as well here. And new men's basketball coach is official at St. Mary's University. And Donny, it is Jamison Rusthoven, announced this week by Athletic Director Nikki Fennern. And we had an introductory press conference, and I tell you what, I think one way to describe Jamison is that he's young but very, very experienced. So I think definitely he's looking to really rebuild that St. Mary's basketball team, and I think we got the right guy for the job.
Yeah, and you know, I met him yesterday for the first time, and it seems like a very energetic individual. He's you know, he's got a great resume. If you look at his experience as an assistant coach, both at Hamlin and Platteville were his last two stops, and I know people on campus are very excited. You know, he seems to be a good fit. A great family man. I got to meet his awesome little kids. They were a treat to meet yesterday, and his lovely wife. And I know we're excited. There's a breath of fresh air in the fact that we don't have to deal with trying to find somebody. You know, it's always a pressure-packed thing when you've got an opening, especially at this time of year. With recruiting going on and whatnot, and I think that the fact that we have somebody in place and really feel like it's the right fit, it's exciting, and everybody's ready to move forward.
Right. One of the things that Nikki Fennern, our athletic director, talked about, and it really came across in the interview process, and I was on that interviewing team, is he exudes leadership. And I thought that was a terrific way for Nikki to phrase it, because there is definitely this sense of stability about him and this sense of confidence that he'll get the job done. Yeah,
no question. And when you're doing your doctorate in leadership, that certainly is a great trait to have. And I know that you're right. He kind of exudes it. When we had the press conference on Wednesday, that's one of the feelings that you got. A very confident individual. I'm sure he's a little nervous, being that this is his first head coaching position, but he's got he's got some great mentors that he's worked under, and you know, I know that he's ready to hit the ground running and get the ball rolling, and we're excited to have him, and hopefully you know, it's a great fit for a long time.
And as you look at his resume, this is his first head college coaching experience, but he was a very successful high school coach in Minneapolis.
Yeah, and a very tough place to be a successful high school coach, because it's one of the toughest areas in terms of very, very talented teams that you're competing against. And I know he said that yesterday in the press conference was that he learned very fast what you need to do, and I really I enjoyed when he said, I learned from my mistakes as well. So I think that's an important thing to remember is he's had a lot of successes, and then he's learned from the times that maybe he wasn't so successful, or he learned from some of the things that maybe he did that didn't quite work the way you'd want him to work. So
and he's been an assistant at the community college level, at the Division II level, and at the Division III level. He comes most recently, he was an assistant at the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, very successful D3 program.
Absolutely, and you look at what he did to help turn around the Hamlin program, which is where he was before he was at Platteville. He did a great job of helping turn that program around. Like he said, they were in 10th place in the conference when he got there, and when he left to go to Platteville, they were in 3rd place in the conference standings. So has done an outstanding job of helping turn around programs, and hopefully he can continue that here at St. Mary's.
Next year here on the Cardinals Nest, we'll give you an opportunity to meet him in person. For now, we mentioned we had that press conference, and so here's a little bit of what Coach Rusthoven had to say in that press conference.
Well, you know what, with my background in the MIAC, especially Twin Cities, St. Mary's, because I competed at Hamlin, we played them quite a bit, and they were always competitive. They've had some really good athletes, but for whatever reason, just the buttons weren't pushed the way I think they could be pushed. So it's really attractive. In going through the process and talking with Nikki, she solidified that, her vision, and then coming on campus and meeting with the coaches that I met with. How could you not want to be here? If there was any doubt whatsoever, the process and the people erased that. So this is the right time. And, as you weigh your options, this became something that was a no-brainer. And for my very first conversation with Nikki, it just felt right. It felt like the right fit. And that's why I'm here. How do you go about it?
All right, so there you hear from our new head men's basketball coach, Jamison Rusthoven. Great to have him aboard, and he's already underway doing a little bit of recruiting, talking to the current team. Can't work with the current team yet, but certainly looking forward to having him on campus and at some point right here on HBC and the Cardinals Nest. Well, Donnie, as we mentioned at the outset of the program, spring sports underway. The softball team, 5 games in about the next 5 days, and those are double headers, so really 10 games in 5 days.
Yeah, they've got, you look at this season, it's been an absolutely chaotic season in terms of both baseball and softball. Baseball actually played its first games since April 7th on Wednesday when they were up at St. John's and they split with the Johnnies. But then softball has had it a little bit easier in this spring because there are the abilities to play in some of the domes. They've played in the Rochester Dome. They played up in Vadnais Heights. And then, they got to play their first home games earlier this week against Hamlin. It was nice to see, just be outside. It was still not softball weather. It was about 35 degrees, but at least they were outside playing. And I know that it makes a big difference. Softball is meant to be played outside and not in a dome. And so I know everybody was excited about playing outdoors. Unfortunately, the outcome wasn't what Coach Miller was hoping for. But it's a crazy spring. Softball, dropped that pair to Hamlin. Right now they're in 3rd place in the conference standings. But what's interesting about what's happened now with the conference play and whatnot, because of all of the cancellations and postponements, the conference has actually changed the format for their upcoming conference tournament. Rather than the top 4 teams qualifying for a double elimination 2-day tournament, they're actually going to qualify all 12 teams, and they'll play pool play on Friday with the winner of each of the 4 pools, then moving on to the double elimination Saturday and Sunday tournament. So the conference has had to step in and make some adjustments because teams just aren't able to get all their games in. Right now, Concordia's only got 2 of their 22 games that they're supposed to play in the conference. They've only been able to play a couple because of snow and rain and poor field conditions. So it's they had to make that change, and it's one of those things that I don't know if it's necessarily one of the greatest things that they had to do, but it does allow everybody to at least get a shot at the conference tournament, and so they'll play the rest of the rest of these conference games is really a preparation for those 3 days in Mankato next week.
Right. I think it's a great compromise to what's just been an awful scheduling season. And as we look at highlights of this Hamlin, you know, Hamlin, they lost the doubleheader 9-5 and 9-1, but that first game was 5-5. In the 5th inning, and so it was Hamlin kind of piling up some runs late there. So the Cardinals, as you said, in 3rd place, they're on a good pace right now. They're on a good track, and looking forward to the end of the season here. We'll have a lot more on this softball team next week here on the Cardinals Nest. Baseball, Donnie, they went a stretch of about, what was it, almost 17 days from their last game before they played again. Right now they sit 10-9 overall, 1-3 in the conference.
Yeah, they went 17 days, had 14 postponements in those 17 days where they haven't played. And, you know, you have to feel for Coach Winicky, and just that it just becomes, you know, such a headache for him. But in reality, as he always puts it, he feels bad for the players, because every day they're preparing to play, and then every day he has to tell them, we can't play, the fields aren't ready, or it's snowing, and we can't play. And they did finally get to play on Wednesday. They went up to St. John's and had a doubleheader against the Johnnies, where they earned a split, which was nice to see. They dropped the first game 6-5 in the bottom of the 7th inning on an error, and then an RBI single in that game. But then they came back. They were tied in the second game. They were actually down 2-1 and 3-1. Came back and won 11-7. So a good rebound for them, coming back from a heartbreaking loss in that first game to get the split. But you know, as we talk with softball, there's no chance for them to sit back and relax, because they play again on Thursday. They get Friday off to practice, and then they play 2 big home doubleheaders on Saturday and Sunday against St. Olaf and Gustavus. So a very busy time for them. They'll have played 4 doubleheaders in a 5-day span, and you know, it just doesn't get any easier. With finals for us starting next week, it really crams things in. You know, the weather has just wreaked havoc on everybody, and just trying to get games in right now is the #1 priority. Mm-hmm. The conference has also talked about the potential of expanding their playoffs to a 6-team format, which would be a single elimination rather than double elimination, but that hasn't been set yet. It's all going to depend on how many games teams can get in before May 8th, because that's the drop-dead date in terms of games that can be played before the conference tournament starts that weekend of that week. So you're going to have to wait and see in terms of baseball, but softball has already made the change to allowing everybody to play in the pool play to begin the conference tournament.
And the tennis conference tournament starts on May 3rd already, and both teams above 500. The women 10-8, the men 16-6. They continue to roll. They're on a 2-match winning streak.
Yeah, and they've got a very big match against McAllister on Saturday up in St. Paul. That match right there will really determine their playoff hopes. A win against McAllister, and they're playing for they're in the conference tournament. A loss against McAllister, and they'll be on the outside looking in. So a very big match. You're seeing some highlights here of their match last weekend, and you know, it was Senior Day, and we've talked so many times about Senior Day for our sports teams, and you know, on the men's side, you've got 4 seniors who have done so much for the program. Mike Lunka and Bobby Steingraber, we've talked about them for 4 years and how good they are at #1 doubles, and Mike and Bobby have really been the #1 and 2 singles players. Sam Puff and Andrew Rangich have also really done a great job all season, and really all 4 years to really help this program out, and it's going to be tough to see those 4 leave, because they have done so much. Deanne Weber and Rachel Lutmer on the women's side, same thing. You know, they've been regulars in the lineup for the last 4 years, and Deanne is really having a breakout senior year where she's leading the team in singles wins, and just kind of been that team leader, and her and Rachel team up in doubles as well, and they're going to be missed. They're players that we're really going to miss.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back with one more show for the season next week here on HBC. Thanks for watching the Cardinals Nest.